In this video, we're going to build a page for reading the records. So if you've been following along with this little series, you should have something that gives you a form and it can insert records. Maybe you've even got a few records on your database table. So now is all about the business of displaying our records. And we're going to build a page that looks a little bit like this. Not exactly like this, but kind of like this. And I think you'll be amazed by how easy this is. So let's start this one off by opening up our books controller file. And I'll make a little bit of room. And I'm going to make a method here called manage. Okay? And on manage, I'm going to say data books equals, I'm going to say this, model get. I'm going to get the books and I'll order by title. All right. Now, by the way, this model thing is covered in the documentation at the section for database interaction. And we have a page here that explains the get method. So if you want full details about this and how it works, then check that out. It's in the documentation. And you're very welcome to have a closer look at that. Okay, so that's what we're using here. Now, also, don't forget that Trongate comes with a handy Json function that I made for you. So we can say JSON data, for example. I'm going to save this. And what this is going to do is if we go to books/manage, you can see that we have a little nice summary here of what is in our data array. So here's the books. You can see the IDs, title, description, author ID, and all of that stuff. Okay? So what we're going to do then is we're going to create a view file. So I'll say data view file equals manage. Now, shall we make that up? I think we should. I'm going to go into views, going to have a new file. I'm going to call it manage.php. There we go. And let's add a little headline in here. I'll just say manage books. That will do us for the moment, right? Back over to the manage method here. Well, we've declared our view file. So now I'm going to load up a template, an admin template, and I'm going to pass in the data. So save it. And then we're going to refresh here. Then there you go. Not too bad. Now keep in mind that the data, which was set here, has been passed into this view file. And also keep in mind that if you want, you can do a var dump or something like this to see what you have. And it will show you that. Or if you want, you can use the JSON thing that I showed you a minute ago. So it's very easy to see what's available inside view files. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to build a table that's going to show the results, and watch how easy this is. I think you'll be amazed. I'm going to say table, and I am using Emmet here just for shortcuts. So there's going to be a table row with table headings, and I think we'll have 4 of them. Okay, so for the table headings, I'm going to say title. I'm going to say, now I'll leave out description, but I am going to say author. Then I'm going to say published. And finally, I'm going to say action. And this one is going to have a button in it, right? So if we save that and refresh, you can see already that we have a nice table appearing here. So now I'm going to go into PHP. I'm going to say for each books as book. All right. We'll go out of PHP. This is one of the nice things about PHP. You can do this. You can weave in and out of PHP. It's not a problem. And what I'm going to do is for each of those books, we're going to have a row. I'll do a little smug indentation. We'll give it normal table cells here. So TD, right? And then inside each of the cells, I'm just going to echo book, loading up, and we add on the different bits and pieces. So for example, title, let's just save and refresh, a look at that. Now let's go back and do these other table cells here. So for author, we're going into PHP. I'm going to say book, loading up, and now it's actually author ID for us, right? And then in this one, it's going to be into PHP. It's going to be book, loading up, published. There you go. And we'll just keep the action as it is just for the moment. Now let's save that and refresh. And that is fantasticola. Right, now I'm going to add in a couple of buttons and that will be the end of this video. So upstairs here, let's have a paragraph and we're going to create a link. I'm going to say anchor. We're going to go to books/create and we're going to just say create new record. There you go. And save it. And if we go back and refresh, there's our link up here. So we can click on that, it takes us to this form. Okay. Now if you want to turn that into a button, it's remarkably easy. We just pass in an array with a class assigned to button. Simple as that. So save it, refresh, and there you go. A fabulous create button. Now we can have buttons here for updating records as well. So let's actually create a little update URL. So I'm going to say that it's base URL, books/create, and I'm going to add on the ID for each record. So that's book loading up ID. So in here, we're going to have a link. So I'll say anchor. We're going to go to the update URL and we can just chuck in the word update. Something like that. Now save it. Have a little refresh. There you go. Okay, so they are taking us to the form here. And to turn those into buttons, same story. We can say, actually, I'll just show you an alternative syntax just so that you've seen an alternative syntax. Let's just say, in fact, let's just say up here, let's say btn attr, so button attribute. And I'm going to say that the class is button alt. So that's going to apply a button class and an alt class that will give us an alternative button. So we can now just say comma, button, attribute. Okay, we're going to save it. Have a little refresh. And there you go. Now if you want, you can make this right hand column here a little bit more narrow by just going upstairs here, and I'm just going to say style equals width, and I'll just take a little guess. I'll say 80 pixels and refresh, and I think that'll do us. Okay, so not too bad. And notice we did not have to do any table classes or anything like that. It just works with pure HTML, and that's the beauty of this whole framework, and it just makes things look kind of nice by default. So join me in the next video and I'm going to show you a super cool way of doing table joins so that we can actually have the author's name here along with something a bit more meaningful than 1 and 0 for published. I hope to see you then.